breathless moment for Florida LGBTQ+ students as they start school in bullying shadow of Governor Ron DeSantis. Florida has become a political battleground over social issues, and the casualties in the war are children and their education. Teachers in Sarasota were told that only textbooks are allowed in classrooms, and that classic literary works must be removed. Veterans Day is no longer going to be celebrated in schools, and a new law that DeSantis created in May requires schools to observe Victims of Communism Day on November 7th instead, and to teach about the evils of communism. Under the vaguely worded Parental Rights in Education bill, also known as Don't Say Gay, any references by teachers of sexuality or gender identity could open the door to lawsuits against schools and educators. Florida teachers, already some of the lowest paid in the nation, also risk having their jobs taken away from them as DeSantis requires teaching certifications. In an attempt to turn teaching into politics at the cost of children's education, he's working to place unqualified veterans into teaching positions. Early voting has already started for the Florida primaries, which are happening next Tuesday. Queer News Tonight and Hotspots Happening Out Television encourage everyone to get out and vote to protect the futures of Florida students. What do we think?
There is so much wrong with this. There is so much wrong with this. I mean, McCarthyism much, and also clearly pandering to specific parts of our population. And here's the other problem. People don't understand communism. And I say this not to upset the people who have escaped communism, because dictatorial communism is different. But actual communism, if you're going to teach it, is much different from what it has materialized itself to be in global politics.
And here's one issue I have. Dade County Public Schools starts tomorrow. As of this moment, they've not put out any statement or guidelines to their teachers on how to handle Don't Say Gay and the issues surrounding it. Broward has put out a little bit of information. They had a Zoom with their principals and talked to them about what they should and shouldn't do. But Broward and Dade are supposed to be the most liberal counties in Florida. When Dade County hasn't gotten off its tuchus, what hope is there for the rest of this?
Why do you think they haven't prepared for it?
They're weak, they're scared, they're afraid. The lawsuits that are going to come down, it doesn't matter what anybody does. Tomorrow, there's going to be some Moms of Liberty person in a class throwing down their lawsuit. And, you know, I've been sued so many times I don't even remember. I didn't do it. But when it's intimidating to get served with papers at your front door. Home Depot once sued me for $10 million on a zoning issue because they were trying to spook me into voting the way they wanted me to. It's intimidating.
You know, one of the focuses of the Queer the Vote campaign for the task force is about local school boards, because these are where, you know, our communities are most impacted, and there's no I'm going to forget the candidate's name who's running, I believe, in Miami-Dade County. She was being interviewed on the news on Sunday by Jackie Nesbral, and again, she was recommended, of course, by DeSantis, and she spoke out, you know, for the Parental Rights bill, and, you know, again, with their talking points of sticking to reading, writing, and arithmetic should only be taught in school. And I think all of us have, you know, gone through school, and we all know that we get to learn a lot more of social issues in school across the board. So that has never been what has been only taught in school, is reading, writing, and arithmetic. Of course, those are the basics, but this talking point needs to be rebuked at all levels, because that's not what we're talking about.
If he really wants to improve education, it's not the reading, writing, arithmetic that's going to do it, because we already score lowest in the country on all those tests, right? So, like, we need to do a lot more than just that. And it's not that there are not enough teachers. There are plenty of teachers. They don't want to teach. Right. There's no benefit to it. I haven't had a raise in 5 years because essentially they just said no. Wow. You know, you don't get that. So, I mean, I'm not, well, I am complaining, but I mean, I have it better than most people, or than a lot of people do. But at the same time,
what's the incentive to become a teacher?
Yeah, what's the incentive to continue?
And here's one thing not to keep your, you know, to keep your eye on the ball about. Don't Say Gay, when it was enacted, was promised to be only grades K through 3. Grades K through 3. Don't worry, none of the rest will. And it's absolutely being applied to every grade level, across the state.
Yeah.
I'm a proud product of Miami-Dade County Public Schools. Shout out to Miami Beach High School in Miami Beach, the heart of gay culture, I would say, in South Florida.
What year did you graduate?
2006.
Don't let Will Manners say that.
And imagine what it would have been like to have had texts about queer history, to have seen me reflected in what I was studying. It would have saved me a lot of trouble coming out years afterwards. And so coming back to the impact that it has on actual students, it's immeasurable. What it means to see yourself reflected in textbooks, what it means to see representation and empowerment, to see folks who were fighting for LGBT rights would have empowered me to come out sooner, probably. So just bringing it back to a real story from a former Miami-Dade County Public School.
North Miami High, class of 86.
And shout out to all the veterans who are now losing their holiday in public schools. My dad is very active with the VFW and a veteran organization. So I'm sure this will become another news talking point for our veterans, that we're now not going to honor them in schools to teach this phony escaping from communism day.
But they're allowed to teach for terrible salaries.
Yes,
without qualification.
Yes.
Yeah. So tell your dad he can get another job.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.